Hey everybody, it's GoblinoX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today I'll be playing another Chromatic Cube draft. This is a cube draft, so we don't keep any of the cards we draft with. Today we are just drafting from a ton of super powerful cards from Arena's history for fun and for the prizes on the tracker. The Chromatic Cube features a bunch of super powerful multicolored cards like my favorite Planeswalker in the game, Nicol Bolas, and that is going to be my pick one pack one here. I don't even care if it's correct. In the first picks of a cube draft, you're always going to have tons of very powerful ways to go and a lot of pretty equally powerful directions you can go. But Nicol Bolas the Ravager is a super powerful card. It's my favorite Planeswalker. It's just a super cool dragon, and yeah, 4 mana for a 4/4 flyer, forces your opponent to discard a card, so it's immediately a 2-for-1, and then if they stick around long enough, Nicol Bolas gets to flip into a gigantic 7 loyalty Planeswalker with a +2 to draw 2 cards. Nicol Bolas the Arisen is absolutely absurd, and I'm super happy to be able to pick one, pack one, a Nicol Bolas today. Pick 2 now. We don't have a phenomenal follow-up to that. Ral's Outburst would be solid. It's interactive and it draws us some cards. Kite Sail Freebooter would be fine. A cheap little interactive card. There's also Bank Job from Alchemy, which is going to draw us a creature from the bottom of our library every turn, except that it's going to put that card into exile and we have to cast it that turn, or else it just goes into our graveyard and we get a treasure. Don't think Bank Job is going to be super good in this cube. It's probably okay. I find that there's a lot of card advantage in this cube, a lot of card draw going on, where I've had some games where I've ended up with like a 5-6 card library, so Bank Job just milling me could end up being an issue when we can't afford the cards off of it, plus having to cast specifically when it gets exiled instead of being able to choose out of your hand is a bit rough as well. There's Glasspool Mimic, which is solid because we can play this as a land when we need it, or we just have a clone effect at the ready. Off-color stuff here is pretty powerful. These white cards are great for a blink deck. I think I'm just going to go for like a control-y kind of Grixis deck here. Pick up the Ral's Outburst for some solid interaction. Pick 3 now. We see Search for Azcanta, which is wonderful for control decks. This is a 2-mana enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, you look at the top card of your part of your library, and you can put it into your graveyard. And then if you have 7 or more cards in your graveyard, you flip this. It becomes a way to just spend 3 mana, tap it, draw a card off the top 4. So Search for Azcanta is pretty great in control. There's nothing else here that would be super good in Grixis, although Urabrask would be pretty solid. This lets you draw an extra card every turn, and it makes it so your opponent has to cast whatever they draw the turn that they draw it, or it just remains in exile. Yep, I think Search for Azcanta is a pretty easy pick here. Nothing else super duper going on in Grixis there. A Braid is excellent cheap interaction because it's going to be able to stop early game creatures from your opponent like Mana Dorks or whatever they're playing, while also being useful later in the game because there are plenty of powerful artifacts in the cube, case in point Platinum Angel and Primal Amulet in the same pack. So I like a Braid a lot here. Do like Sulphur Falls. I am pretty much locked into Grixis here because I am just greedy for that Nicol Bolas. So because we're pretty much committed to Grixis already, we could probably just take Sulphur Falls here. I actually don't know what's more likely to wheel because there's going to be a lot of players. I think as this cube progresses, there's going to be a lot of players trying to play 5-color a lot of the time because it is a very powerful thing to do. But right now, I don't actually know if a Braid or Sulphur Falls is more likely to wheel. Hopefully, I'm going to say hopefully a Braid. I'm actually going to take Sulphur Falls now that I think of it. I think they're both equally important for our deck. Ooh, Electrolyze though. We do have 3 colors of great cheap interaction at our disposal, being in red, blue, black here, so that makes me a little happier about passing up on a Braid if we can just get a card like Electrolyze here as well. 3 mana, 2 damage wherever you want it, and draw a card. Clear out a cheap little Mana Dork or whatever's going on, like 1 damage to a Llanowar Elves, 1 damage to their face. Draw a card in the process. Alright, now we've got some excellent looking mana. We've got Drowned Catacomb, Forsaken Crossroads. I was about to also call that a Catacomb. We also have Mole Drifter, that's really good in the Blink decks. It's still fun and solid in any deck. There's also Vraska's Contempt, though, which is really good interaction. I kind of want to be just the control deck with all kinds of removal, exile, all that kind of stuff to really have everything under control. So I'm pretty tempted to take Vraska's Contempt here. Exiling and targeting Planeswalkers is really good. I'm going to take the Vraska's Contempt here. It feels a little less replaceable than the cheap little burn spells are to me, because its ability to get rid of planeswalkers, it's also instant speed, you're gaining life when you do it. It's got a lot of good stuff going for it. I'm going to go for Storm Carved Coast here, which is a little weird because I think the Reality Chip is generally a really powerful card, because once you reconfigure this onto a creature, you get to play lands and spells from the top of your library, which basically means you can just keep playing from the top and essentially draw 2-3 extra cards per turn, because you play a land off the top, then you cast whatever spells on top of your library, and then, you know, whenever you hit a second land on the top, you have to stop, but you get a lot of card draw off of that. The problem is we're going to probably be running a very creature light deck here. We have one creature so far, so we're not going to have enough creatures to reconfigure the Reality Chip onto to draw a bunch of cards off of it here. Fast and Furious is another powerful option there that I completely didn't mention because I was busy talking about the Reality Chip, but that would have been an option there. It's a 3 mana, discard a card, draw 2, or 5 mana, 3 to all creatures. That would have been fine. So Ally Mirror would be okay here. I think Inscription of Insight's probably the strongest card that I'm passing up on, but the fact that this is sorcery speed, I've just never been in a position where Inscription of Insight has been particularly like massively powerful, and I have cast a lot of them in cube drafts. They were always just kind of okay. It reads a lot better than it's played for me personally. I could go Lord Xander, but like this is a 7 mana 6/6 with no evasion. So we play this and then they just exile it with their Banishing Light or something, and then I've got nothing accomplished. I guess I made them discard like 1 to 2 cards. I don't know. Lord Xander doesn't seem massively good in cube. I think I'd rather just take like Siege Gang Commander because it's a threat and 3 removal spells all off of 1 card. All right, well, there's Bank Job still, but we're going to be so creature light, this card probably does nothing for us as well. Take Triska Decaphyl and try to have 13 cards in hand to win the game. That could be fun. It's also a 2 mana 1/3, so it's an early game blocker. Illyrio's Enraptured is a little bit of a better blocker because it's 3 mana to get a 3/2. Then when that 3/2 dies, you have a 2/3 sitting around to block, so it's like 2 creatures to trade in 1, but Triska Decaphyl seems more fun. So we'll take that. We wield the Urabrask. I'm feeling pretty great about being in Grixis here. Urabrask wield as well as Anya, Maid of Dishonor. We're not going to be very good at making a lot of blood or anything. Anya's kind of a weird addition to here. But I guess they had to put some Rakdos cards in. I'm just going to take Urabrask. Torbran's still in here. And a Braid. Super happy to be the Grixis control deck here. If we're going to get the cheap interaction like a Braid wheeling that late, that'll be beautiful. I don't think Seasoned Pyromancer or Crypt Breaker are going to be very good in this deck, but Seasoned Pyromancer is probably closer. Forsaken Crossroads is definitely solid. Just pick a color, comes into play tapped, and taps for that color later. Just an Evolving Wilds, basically. What do we have here? Ooh, no, Teferi or Sublime Epiphany, 2 very, very good control cards. Even Sap Vitality looks pretty good. Deal 3 to a creature, Planeswalker at instant speed. A little hard to cast being double black. We don't care about the perpetual trigger, but 3 damage, 2 mana. It's Lightning Bolt, but a little more expensive. Oh my god, there's Kolagon's Command in here as well. Well, I'm just going to cross my fingers because cards like a Braid were wheeling that Kolagon's Command will wheel, but this is a really, really good card in this cube. Because it's like you destroy an artifact and make them discard a card, or you kill their 2 toughness creature and destroy an artifact, or you kill their 2 toughness creature and make them discard a card. This card is really flexible, and most of the modes are relevant at some point in cube. I think I'm going to take Sublime Epiphany here. This pack is so good for us, though. Sublime Epiphany, Teferi, and Kolagon's Command are all excellent, as well as Watery Grave and Fetid Pools. Even Mazemind Tome is a really solid 2-drop for pretty much any deck. Sit there, scry when you don't have mana, and then when you do have extra mana, just draw cards. But I'm taking Sublime Epiphany over Teferi, even though Teferi is pretty powerful, pretty annoying, because Sublime Epiphany, I don't know if I've ever lost a game where I've cast Sublime Epiphany in cube. Because in cube, it's like every spell is so individually powerful that you counter their spell. That's already a powerful effect because you stopped them doing something big. Then you're also bouncing one of their cards to make their board state less. You're also getting a copy of one of your creatures, which all of your creatures are going to be something obnoxiously good, and you're drawing another card. Sublime Epiphany just does so much stuff. So I kind of like Solemn Simulacrum here. There's also Atris, Oracle of Half-Truths, which can be a little bit of a draw spell when it enters the battlefield, which is fun. Definitely don't like the Immortal Sun, because then maybe I won't be able to use my Nicol Bolas, which is lame. There's Double Vision, there's Captain Lannery Storm. Those don't do much in here. Expansion Explosion could be fine. Late game kind of win condition. Cast a big explosion, draw a bunch of cards, do a bunch of damage. Don't love Murmuring Mystic. Seems just a little expensive. It's a fun card, though. I kind of just like Solemn or Atris. I'll go Atris here, I guess. We'll try that out. Ooh, Thief of Sanity. Card is bonkers in Cube. It's like multiple Gaunties on a stick. Every time you deal combat damage to your opponent, you pick the best card out of their top 3, exile it, face down, and then as long as it remains exiled, you can cast it with mana as though it were mana of any color. So I love Thief of Sanity here. That's going to be great. I've seen a lot of token decks running around. I don't think Innocent Blood is like playable in this cube at all. So the blue-black duel is going to be good. Actually, this is probably pretty good in best of 3, but I would not main deck it. I don't like Midnight Reaper or Erebos in this deck, so we're taking Thief of Sanity, hoping to wheel the blue-black duel most likely, but Fae of Wishes or Mirari Conjecture would be fine cards, I guess. Blood Crypt. What else is in this pack? Treasure Map would be okay. Salumgar's Command would be pretty good. All of the commands are quite strong. Doing solid on our mana fixing here. I kind of want to just have beautiful, like, perfect mana going on. And hopefully we can wheel Salumgar's Command. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's going to be 3 cards left in the pack. I doubt we wheel Salumgar's Command, but maybe. Seems like green is probably the most drafted color here. There's a lot of white stuff in here. There's been plenty of Grixis stuff in the last pack. I'm going to take the Blood Crypt here. Missing out on Salumgar's Command is not that big of a deal because Sublime Epiphany is very, very similar to this card. It only costs 1 more mana and then it does a million things when you cast it. And it's more flexible than this card, so I'm going to just take Blood Crypt. Magma Opus is a very expensive card, but it is going to end the game quite often. And these other cards don't make a ton of sense. We're not a Reanimator deck. We're not a Sacrifice deck. We're not aggressive enough for Angrath to be great. Cyber Siphoner could be okay. Flash the Sin, return an instant or sorcery, one of our good interactive spells, and then cast it again later. Jinkintaxis could be okay, but it's another one of those just gigantic game-ending cards. You don't want too many of those. I think I just like Magma Opus. Yeah, I'm going to skip up the Magma Opus. Maybe we'll wheel Cyber Siphoner, but now we're at the point where we're going to wheel 1 card out of the pack, so probably not. Spark Double to get a second Nicol Bolas. That'll never happen, but I want to take it anyway, because we're not going to have a high black devotion for Grey Merchant. The only other card that would work in our colors is Meteor Golem, so Spark Double it is. Alright, Mirror Hall mimics Cemetery Illusion, Steam Vents, or Cemetery Illuminator. Seems like Steam Vents to me. These cards are all fine. But mana fixing is great. Give me that Steam Vents. Ooh, give me that Supreme Will. Xanathar is really powerful. You're going to start casting spells off the top of your opponent's library. But again, I just want to take a bunch of cheap interaction because as you've seen by a lot of these packs getting passed by, there's just tons of these big game enders like Xanathar. There's less great cheap interaction like Supreme Will. Plus, it's got Nicol Bolas' staff. It's not Nicol Bolas' staff, but it's a staff that looks like Nicol Bolas. Wow, we have to pass up on Watergrave and Fetid Pools to take Kolagon's Command, but card is good. Card is real good, and I am going to pass up on those for it. Because our mana is looking pretty great. I mean, we have got 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got 6 non-basics in here. We're probably fine. Yeah, all the blue-red cards are just wheeling. They're just flying around the draft pod. Expansion Explosion here, give us another win condition. Yeah, lots of 3s and 4s here. Get another big, like 8 drop. Whirler Rogue would be fine because it's going to clutter up the board and give us some blockers, but Mirari Conjecture is probably actually good in here because we have so many instants and sorceries now. We have 10 instants. We have 0 sorceries. I like that a lot. I don't like Mirari Conjecture a lot because we don't have any sorceries, but I like that all of our interaction is instant speed. Let me specify there. Oops, Salumgar's Command. There's our 11th instant. Get on in the deck. We probably can't play Mirari Conjecture because it's never returning a sorcery at this point, at this rate. But yeah, every instant you have in your deck makes your other instants that much better. Because if all of your burn spells are sorcery speed, then when your opponent has like a threat you need to kill, you have to just like tap out and go for it. But when they're all instant speed, it's like, okay, so now I could burn a spell to kill this threat, but maybe if they don't do anything important with it, I can instead cast my like card draw off of Supreme Will, or I'm holding up a counter spell if they cast a better spell than that creature. Like there's a lot of flexibility gained from just having a bunch of instants. Okay, so Royal Eruption is great and cheap interaction, but if the rest of this draft is anything to go by, Royal Eruption and Price of Fame are probably going to wheel. But they would both be great pickups. I don't think I want both in the deck that badly, to the point where I'm not going to take the card that has beautiful Nicol Bolas artwork. I don't actually think Eldritch Reborn is that good in this deck, because we have so many instants that if all of our interaction is instant speed, again, as I just said, it makes it all better. And the Eldritch Reborn is sorcery speed. It is a powerful effect, though. You make them sacrifice something, discard a card, and then you get something back from the grave. It's a powerful effect. It's a slow effect, but I'm mainly just taking it for flavor reasons because the artwork is so beautiful and so flavorful. That being said, it's almost like 100% to wheel. We could just take Junji here. I'll just take Junji. Maybe Eldritch Reborn wheels and we play around with that. It'll probably wheel. If I had to guess, I would say it would. Cut to Ribbons, nice. 2 mana, 4 damage to a creature. I think I like that better than 1 mana for 2 damage to a creature. But it is sorcery speed. But still, I probably like it better than Play with Fire. Plus, it gives us another win condition. Just spend 1 million mana and make our opponent lose 1 million life later. Yep. We need more 2 mana interaction. We don't have much going on in the early game right now. I think I take Cut to Ribbons here. We're going to be an annoying deck, that's for sure. We are the Nicol Bolas deck here. We're just going to destroy everything they do. This pack looks probably pretty bad. Terragrid's Lantern's actually a good win condition in these kinds of irritating decks that are just destroying everything they do. And then we can just sit there tapping a Terragrid's Lantern every turn while we keep the board clear. We also have a little bit of discard and stuff that could work with Terragrid if we want to just cast the front half. Yeah, it's like that, or Into the Royalist solid interaction, or we have a blue and X dual land. But again, I think we did enough dual landing. We've got 6, probably solid here. If we wheel any more dual lands, we'll take them and still run them, but I think we're at that point now where we're safe to just start taking a bunch of non-land stuff, so we have more options for how we want to, what we want to play around with. Don't really want to play around with Atali, because it's not going to do anything until it's been around for a whole turn and it's attacked. But it is strong when you do. So we can take Woe Strider. Doesn't look like exactly what we're doing in this deck. It's probably going to end up getting cut, but it would be fine. A 3-2 and a 0-1. I'm just going to take Haunted Ridge because it is 100% not getting cut because it's just like better than any basic. So I'll take that. It's possible we'd end up wanting the Woe Strider, but I don't think so. Whereas again, the other thing that's nice about taking the non-basic lands is that they're the only cards that you are 100% like going to play in your colors. So any non-basic land is better than your like 25th best non-land card, because your 25th best non-land card isn't making the cut. It doesn't end up in your deck, so it's giving you like 0 value at all, if you think of it that way. I'm probably not playing Underdog. Don't think I would play Vizier either, but it's probably more likely than Underdog. I'll just slam a Vizier into the sideboard. Now, Smoldering Egg could be fun in this deck, or we have a black-red duel. Would I play Smoldering Egg? We've got a lot of instants here. 11 instants, 2 sorceries now? Yeah, I'd play a Smoldering Egg. Let's do it. Let's do it. So if we spend 7 mana value, we flip this into a big dragon that starts shooting things every time we cast stuff. Black-red Temple, Magmatic Channeler, and Jadar both seem like they're for different kind of decks than ours. More low curve aggressive decks, same with Nashi. Yep, Temple it is. I guess there's Captivating Crew, but I will not play that. So Chromatic Orrery that I will also not play. We wheeled Price of Him. We didn't wheel the Eldest Reborn. Shame. Price of Fame is still definitely very good for us here. 4 mana instant, destroy creatures or Veil 2. If we target a legendary, it's only 2 mana. Temple of the Dragon Queen. Fine little mana fixer. Chainer's Edict's okay because we have Terror Grid. But I really don't want to end up against a token deck with that card. I guess we could take Whirlwind and I'll get another counterspell. I actually think counterspells are really good in this deck again because we have like 12 instants in here. And now we get to take the Thriving Isle. The more instants you have, the more powerful your counterspells are, because then you can hold them up at no cost. You just hold up a counterspell, and if you don't have to cast it, you cast some kind of command or card draw spell or something instead. That is the big risk of counterspells that happens a lot in regular draft, but doesn't happen as often in cube draft, is that you end up holding up the counterspell, anticipating a 6 or 7 mana like big scary card from them, and then they just play nothing, and then you've also played nothing for your turn. But when you have a ton of extra instants, then you completely like mitigate that risk because you have just something else to do. Soul Servitude's actually a good card because this works against token decks too, so I'm actually really happy to get that because I will play it. I mean, it's an alchemy card. That's probably why it went so late. I was doing that a lot in the first draft, and I probably still do it a lot. If I just see an alchemy card that I haven't read before, I'm just like, I'm not going to read it right now. I'm not going to read it right now. But I have actually played against the Soul Servitude. And I've played with it. So target player sacrifices a non-token creature. That is the line that makes it good. They have to sack a non-token, and pretty much every creature that isn't a token in the cube is going to be a solid creature. Then when they sacrifice that, you can discard a card from your hand to get a duplicate of whatever they sacrifice to your hand. So it's really nice, really flexible card. All right, so we took enough non-basic lands here that we only need to cut 4 cards out of this deck. I'm probably just cutting a solid stack of creatures here because I want to keep our instant and sorcery count really high, as well as our non-creature count high for cards like Search for Azcanta and Smoldering Egg, all of our instants and stuff. Plus, in a more controlling deck, you are definitely not ground to that like 15-ish creature rule that generally works for regular limited decks. Not only is this a very controlling deck where we want to play a bunch of interaction, removal, all of that kind of stuff in the non-creature slots, it's also a cube draft deck where you can very, very specifically craft your decks and you don't have to abide by just the general mid-range limited deck strategies. So we can be very free to play around with the counts of creatures and non-creatures. You could obviously you could optionally probably win with a cube draft with 0 creatures. You could do a stipulation draft and just take planeswalkers very highly. So let's see, 44 cards. I wish I had like a Meat Hook Massacre or something in this deck. That is my biggest concern, is I don't have like a Wrath effect. So if my opponent resolves some kind of creature that spits out like 3 tokens alongside it or something like the Regal Caracol or the Angel of Invention, it's going to be a very bad time for me. But if everybody just keeps playing like 1-for-1 kind of creatures, be in a solid spot. I think we got to just rely on our counter spells for that kind of stuff. So I don't love Urabrask in this deck. The reason being is that the extra cards Urabrask draws you, it draws them into exile and you have to cast them the turn that they're exiled. So it's pretty bad with instant speed effects, which we have a lot of. It's incredibly bad with counter spells because they'll just do absolutely nothing in exile. So I'm going to get rid of Urabrask here. 3 more cuts to go, probably cutting 3 creatures. I actually like Triskaidekaphile in this deck, even though it is one of the weakest looking cards in the deck and one of the weakest cards in the deck individually. What is really nice about this card is that, again, with our mountain of instants, if we end up not needing to cast any instant speed spells, we can just start dumping mana into this to draw extra cards. So I like that a lot in a deck that has a ton of instants. Seasoned Pyromancer, what does this do? Discard 2, then draw 2 for each non-land, get a 1/1, and then you can exile this from graveyard for some more 1/1s. This seems fine, flooding the board, getting some blockers out there, but not particularly great. I'll put that to the side as a potential cut. Spark Double, definitely will put that to the side as a potential cut. We don't have a lot of creatures or planeswalkers. I kind of just took it as the meme for maybe we get 2 Nicol Bolas's, and that would be cool, but it's not going to happen super often. I'll cut the Spark Double here. Then we have Junji the Midnight Sky, 5/5 Flying Menace, and when it dies, it does some good stuff. Make our opponent discard 2 cards and lose 2 life. Seems good. We have tons of interaction even without Siege Gang Commander, so I might want to cut that as well. So what is our non-creature stuff? Is there any non-creature card that we really want to cut? Potentially the Mirari Conjecture. We'll take another look at the sorcery count, but I think it's like 2. Yeah, 2 sorceries. This will very consistently be return 1 instant, and then you can double up spells on the 3rd turn. So not getting max value off of it, probably too slow and not enough value if you're not getting an instant and sorcery and doubling up. So when we're only getting 2 of the 3 effects, I think we cut that. And then anything else looking bad? Everything else looks pretty great. Yeah, everything else looks pretty great in the non-creature slot. So cut one of these 2, cut a Siege Gang Commander, cut a Seasoned Pyromancer. Probably the Siege Gang Commander. Just have another early game creature get some blocks in there. Against more aggressive, just like green-white strategies, just like 2 color decks that are just trying to get in there. I think we already have plenty against the big slow decks. Just cast like counter spells against those. To exile their big scary creatures. That kind of stuff. And Siege Gang Commander isn't really good against the big slow decks anyway, because it's not going to do enough damage to kill any of their big late game plays. Yeah, I'm going to cut Siege Gang. Then I think this will be the deck here. This is a deck that actually will sometimes cast Terragrid and will sometimes cast Terragrid's Lantern. Which is kind of cool. Do want to make sure to take a look at the mana base here and make sure that is all covered, but with the amount of non-basics we have here, I can't imagine Arena could mess us up that hard on mana. 13 blue, 11 black, 10 red. Pretty equal amounts of each color, and we should have like 10 sources of each if our non-basic lands have anything to say about it. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 blue sources right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 red sources, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 black sources. So 1 less black source than everything else. Probably 1 less red source than everything else, but then we don't have a basic mountain. Do we have anything that cares about basic lands? Probably not. Yeah, nothing in our deck pulls out a basic land. We didn't take that Solemn Simulacrum or anything. So we can cut the mountain here. And then we have 5, 6, 7, 8 blue sources. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 black sources. So 8 blue, 8 black, 7 red. Yeah, that seems like pretty dang excellent mana to me. All right. Oh yeah, and then 1 of each color, so that makes it more like 9, 9, 8 than 8, 8, 7. Alright, so now we have the mana in order. We'll take one final look at the deck. This is a Grixis control deck. I just picked 1 pack, 1 Nico Bolas, and ran with it. We have tons of great cheap interaction. The most important interaction that we have in the deck are the pieces of interaction that we have that'll be 2-for-1s to put us ahead in card advantage. When we can cast 1 card to get rid of 2 of our opponents, that's going to give us the lead in the game when we can do things like kill their 2 toughness creature and blow up their artifact, or make them discard a card and kill their 2 toughness creature, stuff like that, or kill their 2 toughness creature and draw a card. When we can do things like blow up a 3 toughness creature and draw a card, those are going to be the biggest, most important ones. Slumgar's Command as well, counter their non-creature spell and bounce one of their cards or destroy their planeswalker or something like that. Those are the ways that we can get those incremental little advantages to come ahead in the game, and we've got plenty of pretty strong, just really expensive spells to try to close out the game. We have Explosion, dealing a ton of damage and drawing a ton of cards. Magma Opus is pretty similar, dealing 4 damage, tapping 2 things, creating a 4/4, and drawing 2 cards. We also have Sublime Epiphany, which swings the game in our favor every time it's cast. This card is just absurd in Cube. Counter a spell, return a card to its owner's hand, get a copy of one of your creatures, and draw a card. For other ways to win the game, we've got Nico Bolas, the namesake card of the deck. This card is really good because no matter what, it's a 2-for-1. You're playing a 4/4 flyer that makes your opponent discard a card, so you're getting a card and putting them down a card. That's a 2-for-1 right there. If your opponent has to use removal on it, you're getting that crisp, clean 2-for-1. And if your opponent doesn't use removal on it, you're going to get one of the most insane planeswalkers in the game, being able to draw extra cards or just -3 to do 10 damage to a creature planeswalker, or -4, not even an ultimate, to put any creature planeswalker card from any graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. And of course, if you +2 long enough, you can just exile your opponent's entire library pretty much. Yeah, Nico Bolas, the namesake card, super powerful card. Looks like a pretty strong deck. The other thing we have going for us is most of our interaction is instant speed, which is going to make our counter spells really good, because we can definitely hold up the mana for Supreme Will, Whirlwind Denial, Sublime Epiphany, and Slumgar's Command. And then worst case scenario, where our opponent doesn't play anything that needs to get exiled, well, then instead we'll just shoot something that's already on the board with Vraska's Contempt or something like that, or use an ability like Triskaidekaphile to draw some cards. So looks like a pretty flexible, pretty great control deck here, and I am very excited to see how it performs. Here we are now in game 1, a definite keep. 3 dual lands in hand. We do need double black to cast our Junji the Midnight Sky, so we're going to play Thriving Isle for a blue and black source. Plus this makes it so we have 2 blue sources, 2 black sources, and 2 red sources. Pretty much the perfect mana start from us here. Now we even get a basic land to play turn 3, untapped, without having to pay any life. That being said, I might just cast Seasoned Pyromancer on turn 3, in which case I will have to pay for the Steam Vents here. But I wanted to get our only land in hand that has to come into play tapped out of the way turn 1. Electrolyze is the draw, so we get to hold up a Supreme Will or Electrolyze based on what they do, but they're a 5-color deck, it looks like, which means probably nothing insane turn 4. Lutri the Spell Chaser is the companion, pretty much just the free companion that goes into any deck. They'd have to spend 3 to put it in hand. I think we can just get a Pyromancer down here. And then, oh, I forgot, I thought this was a May ability. Well, I don't know what I want to discard then. Maybe Electrolyze, because they're probably not going to play anything until later, and they're going to play big stuff. Although Electrolyze will kill Lutri. Definitely want to keep Supreme Will. Definitely want to keep Atris for next turn. Definitely Sublime Epiphany. I don't want to discard any of this. Okay, I should have just passed. I did not realize this is a we must discard too. That was a pretty big punt to start off the gameplay. It's just awkward. I guess I'm getting rid of Epiphany if I'm getting rid of a land. Back Alley Gardener is the play. If they play any other creatures, they're seeking lands out of their deck. Finish that off with an Electrolyze, and it's fine if Pyromancer trades in there. Finish it off with a Braid as well, and then just our 1/1 trades in. Alright, no blocks, fair enough. Now we just hold up our instants. I cannot emphasize how much I should have not played Seasoned Pyromancer. Glass Pool Mimic to get a second Back Alley Gardener. I think we counter that. If I had a removal spell that could blow up the Back Alley Gardener, doing that in response would have been so good. But our removal spells don't do enough damage to kill a 4 toughness card like that. We can kill Shigeki, though. Ooh, Thief of Sanity is the draw. We don't have a counterspell to hold up anymore, so I'm probably just going to play Thief of Sanity and hope for the best with it. Niv Mizzet Reborn. Alright, draw a ton of cards here. Get a couple lands seeked in. Or just one land. So they get Escape to the Wilds, Yorion, and Spirit Sister's Call. I don't even know what this thing does. Choose a permanent in your graveyard, sack a permanent that shares the card type with it to bring it back from graveyard to the battlefield. So basically nothing right now. I guess they sack Shigeki to get a Glasspool Mimic, make a copy of Niv Mizzet to try to draw more cards. Don't have any removal in hand. I can get rid of Niv Mizzet here, so our Thief of Sanity can't really get in anyway. So do we double block back Alley Gardener? I guess we do. They kill Thief of Sanity here. It's not like I can kill Niv Mizzet. This has been a rough game. The Seasoned Pyromancer play really punished us. We shouldn't have discarded that land either, but I expected I would draw one at some point. But now we're just getting really punished because if we don't hit lands, we really can't keep up with the big plays from our opponents. If we don't hit counter spells as well. Seems like a really poor matchup for us as well because all their stuff has so high toughness. We need our Vraska's Contempt style removal. Alright, there's our fourth land. Just gonna go search for his content and a braid. Just can kill their bird, but that doesn't really matter. They've got so much mana at this point. They're about to draw like 5 more cards. Yeah, they're just doing what the 5-color decks can do in this format. They're just gonna absolutely overwhelm us in card advantage, and we don't have anything that can stop it. Honestly, I'm just gonna scoop them up here. The Seasoned Pyromancer punt was pretty bad, but this was a really rough matchup for us that we're probably losing regardless. But I put us in a way worse position than we needed to be. We could have had turn 4 Atris if we didn't go for the Seasoned Pyromancer there. We would have countered the back Alley Gardener as well, so our opponent wouldn't have ramped up as much. But then we drop Atris, look at the top 3. Well, our opponent looks at the top 3, we draw 2 of them, which would probably hit us our 5th land, then we're curving out into Junji there. Maybe we would still have Sublime Epiphany in hand as well, which means we'd have that at the ready to maybe counter Niv Mizzet Reborn. But the way that this board has progressed now, we have many cards in our hand that are just dead cards. Like, these cards aren't going to kill anything important. And then these cards are dead cards because they're just way too much mana. So all we can really do is like cast Atris or kill an Ornithopter. Then we take 6, go to 9, as well as our opponent drawing 5 more cards from that. Getting anything from their graveyard back with Spirit Sister's Call if they want to do that instead. There's no... From that point, we are just drowned by our opponent's deluge of card advantage and card draw. The course of that game was somehow drastically changed by playing the Pyromancer. You know what? I'm going to cut it. I officially despise that card now after that game. It's a good card, but it's lost its main deck privileges. You find some prisoners for another little cheap instant. Doesn't do much, but fun to play around with. Sure. It's so weird that it's not a May ability to me. Because the card that I've cast way more often in my life is the 4-mana uncommon version from the M set, where you discard up to 2 cards, then draw that many cards. And it's a 0/4 with trample and power equal to the number of instants and sorceries in your grave. That blows my mind that the uncommon is the May ability, but the mythic rare is not. Alright, awkward mana, no blue source here, but we've got red and black. We've got good interaction with Contempt. Play around with You Find Some Prisoners and just see what they have. Could play a land from their deck if we're lucky. Use that to get our blue source. I'm going to keep this and see what happens. I'm going to go Swamp first. We might not need to go Pathway on red, but it is more likely. You always want to wait till the last opportunity to play the Pathway. Alright, search for his Kanta. They are on blue, so we can get an island out of their deck, hopefully, here. We got an island. Ooh, or a Shadow Spear, though? Maybe I'm supposed to get greedy, but I'm taking the island, making sure we're good. No, Sulfur Falls. You're not supposed to be here right now. Dang it. We could have gotten paid off for our greed, taking the Shadow Spear. So, opponent is just kind of chilling here, main phase 1. Maybe they don't have a third. They do have a third line. They're just thinking. Treasure map it is. Probably just going to play Lantern and just start going in. Yeah. I'm going to. Terragrid's Lantern. We're going to start being obnoxious. And Terragrid's Lantern is very good in this deck, again, because of the amount of instants we have, where our entire hand is instant speed. So next turn, we just get to play a swamp and pass. And then if we need to cast any of these, we will. And if we don't, then we just get to untap the Lantern to do this twice next turn. Love the instant speed effects with cards like Terragrid's Lantern and Triskaidekaphile on the board. You know what I want in just one game? I want to go Explosion into Triskaidekaphile, where the Explosion lets you draw like X cards. Just draw enough so you have 13 in the upkeep. That would be funny. Probably won't happen. But maybe we can get there. So opponent's scrying around with the treasure map. Looks like they're just a Dimir deck here, just blue and black. Play a Takenuma. Abandoned Mire, they'll make us sacrifice our Triskaidekaphile. RIP. And Suspicious Stowaway is the play, so they give us something to Kolagon's command. I kind of want to do that while they're tapped out, because I'm definitely not going to use the Lantern twice. I'm definitely going to cast the command. So since I'm already like committed to that being the line, I'd probably rather just do it right now, to blow that up and the treasure map, and then they can't have some kind of blue counter spell like their own Whirlwind Denial or something to stop it from happening. If they weren't a blue deck, I'd probably wait till like the last opportunity for this command, or I'd consider it at least. But I don't want to get Whirlwind Denialed or anything like that. Sorin the Mirthless. That's a problem.
Out of my way. I have a way to stop.
That is a problem because it puts two big threats onto the board off of one card, which is going to put us down a card here because we're going to have to spend 2 pieces of removal. Yeah, we're going to have to just go cut and Vraska's Contempt. Deal with all this. And we're out of removal, but in this matchup, hopefully that's... Or we're out of things to do, but in this matchup, hopefully that's not that bad, because they have 3 cards in hand, and those 3 cards could be like their own removal spells to kill our creatures and stuff, which means that if we just don't have creatures, then maybe they just don't have anything to play. That would be our hope here. Ribbons being engraved now is really nice. If they can't exile this thing, they're getting very close to dead, because currently this is going to make our opponent lose 4 life. They're at 10 life, and they're probably taking more from the Lantern sometime soon. So Lantern plus Ribbons puts us very, very close to winning here. But our opponent does have card advantage. They have 4 cards to our 1. We both have a flashback card. Rankle is the play. See what they want to do with it. Make us each discard a card. That'd be fine with me because I can't cast this Magma Opus anyway. I'm also fine with each player drawing a card. They choose to have each player discard. It's cool with me. They probably discard removal. Discard Brain Maggot. Forsaken Crossroads is the draw. So we pretty much definitely play that for ribbons. We've got 2 red sources, 3 blue, 2 black. So we choose black or red. I guess I'll just do black. Scry 1 Sublime Epiphany on top. Okay, yeah, I'll take that. So we've got Sublime Epiphany on top. This turn we're just going to double Lantern. Probably do it before they draw so they can't just like discard 2 lands. They know we don't have any cards in hand, so it's not like we're bluffing anything by waiting on the Lantern. So we do this while they have less options of what to discard. If they take 3 again, Ribbons is lethal next turn. Which means if they choose to take 3 again, that is just like they 100% have a counter. Okay, they chose to discard for Phyrexian Arena. Which is a fair discard when you're down to 7 life. Phyrexian Arena would be a risky play. Ooh, Grey Merchant of Asphodel was their other card, though, so they gain a ton of life here. Back up to 11. We're down to 12. Taking 5 again this next turn. They're going to have us each draw a card. We'll draw Epiphany and Nicol Bolas. We can play Nicol Bolas, make them discard their 1 card in hand here. And then we also have a flyer big enough to block Rankle. That triggers when it deals combat damage, right? Yeah. So I think we play, well, 3, 4, 5, 6. If they draw a land, they just Chainer's Edict our Bolas and then hit us for 5 again. It's actually a really hard choice. They have to top deck land next turn, but they could top deck land or removal to make it pretty bad for us. I guess play it safe, hold on to Sublime Epiphany. I'll Lantern them right now, though. It might get them to discard that card in hand. It is an island. Okay. See what they've got here. Draw something off of Visconta. I guess I could counter that with Epiphany. Probably should have, but they missed anyway. So that's good. Okay. We're going to take 5 if I don't Epiphany. Then I'm going to go to 6 life. They're at 10. We have our ribbons for 5. Magic is a hard game. We could bounce Rankle and draw a card. Not being able to clone something is rough here. Or counter something. I was really hoping they'd draw into a good spell. Would get pretty massive value off of the Epiphany. I'm gonna take 5. See what they want to do with Rankle. Probably lose a life, draw a card again. Yep. Drawn to Smoldering Egg. Man, their creatures are not very good to bounce also. Because this one has haste, and this one drains us for life when they cast it. Well, now they've got a spell. So now we do counter and then bounce Rankle to force the recast there. Counter target spell, return a online permanent, and I'll draw a card. So we're going to return Rankle, counter the freebooter, and draw a card. We draw into Junji the Midnight Sky. They didn't hit a land there. Or they're keeping it for the Lantern. Ooh, that could be great. If they're keeping that for the Lantern and I just use Lantern here, they discard the land and then I play Bolas, that can get them really good. Yes. Okay, so we play Bolas here, and then we have 4 mana if I pay 2 life. Don't think I'm paying 2 life here. I think I'm playing a tapped Steam Vents. We'll play Smoldering Egg to be really safe. That way we sacrifice the Smoldering Egg. Yeah, now we sacrifice the Smoldering Egg to the Chainer's Edict even if they hit a land. So unless they get targeted removal for Bolas, we get them next turn. Bolas sends in the sky. Because we've got that Smoldering Egg for protection against Chainer's Edict. So as Kanta the Sunken Ruin it's going to be. Look at the top 4. They miss again, and they scoop them up. Nico Bolas hit in for 4, put them to 5, finish them off with ribbons. That is going to be game 1-1 now. Alright, here we are now, round 3. Excellent hand. Triska Deckfile into Thief of Sanity, and then we just start holding up some interaction. Another Luxury deck, though. The word is out. Luxury is literally the best card in the cube. Just a free 8th card in hand for any deck with blue or red. What am I doing here? We go Blood Crypt and then Sulphur Falls comes into play untapped. Not good with all the rare lands. Don't play enough constructed. There's still a mind game to me what order you're supposed to sequence them out in. I like Smoldering Egg better than Triska Deckafile here. Now that we drew into that. Because that is a very threatening card, and it's going to be a long time before I want to dump mana into Triska Deckafile's effect. The Celestius is the play. Bunch of mana rocks from our opponent. They're on blue, red, and white. But they can get a mana of any color, so who knows what's coming up after this. Here's our Thief of Sanity. Looks like a Lightning Helix. Sacred Fire is basically the same card as Lightning Helix, but it has flashback, which is really powerful. Nikki B is going to be great here, because it's going to give us a big 4/4 flying threat and make them discard a card, so it's a 2-for-1 even if they immediately blow up Nicol Bolas. You put Lutri to their hand, they only have 3 mana up here, which could be enough for a counterspell. I would not enjoy that. But it could also just be enough for casting a Lutri as a 3/2. So hopefully that's their kind of plan. They can get the blue mana for the counterspell off the Celestius. Probably crossing my fingers and slamming down Bolas. No Whirlwind Denial, no Supreme Will. There's the 2 3-mana counters I can think of. It looks like they have neither, so we do get our discard trigger, if nothing else, and make them discard that Lutri. So, again, just showing off the power of Lutri there. Basically starting with an 8-card hand from the companion effect basically means that we're just at parity in terms of cards. Oh! Velomachus. This card just absolutely destroys. Wait, what did they do? Did it cast Memory Deluge? You may cast an instrument with mana value less than or equal to. They cast Memory Deluge. Look at the top X, where X is the amount of mana spent. They spent 0 mana on it, though. That's what happened. Okay, so we get to take 5, and then we Soul Servitude their Velomachus to get a copy of it into our hand. That worked out so much better than it could have. That could have been disastrous to us. Alright, oh, there's our Whirlwind Denial. I'd like to hold that up, but I don't think it's worth holding up when we can get rid of Velomachus and hit them in the process. Discard Junji here, actually. Because I'm not going to slam down 5 mana for it when I have a counterspell in hand. So if I draw the land to cast it, I'm just going to spend 2 mana on Triska Deckafile and hold 3 up for a counterspell. I guess that would require drawing a blue source. Maybe I should have just not put a Lore Hold into hand. Since we're only on 4 mana here, it's going to be 3 turns minimum until we can cast that. Oh no, Nicol Bolas is going to be gone. We're going to discard a non-land card that costs 4 or more. Yep. And blow up Nicol Bolas. Well, Electrolyze is going to be good here. Blow up Narset and draw a card. Yep. 2 to Narset, draw a card. They draw their 3-mana counterspell now. No. Nice, and we drew the island, so we dropped the Triskaidekaphile. We're only 1 mana value away from flipping the Smoldering Egg into the Ashmouth Dragon. Big old threat. Alright. Opponent is just running circles with this Celestius here, drawing and discarding like every turn. Gaining life all over the place. We draw into Supreme Will. I'm probably just holding up a bunch of instants, and if I don't need to counter anything, I'm drawing a card off Triskaidekaphile. They draw the 2 best cards out of their top 7. Probably uncool. Now we flip our Ashmouth Dragon as well. Lightning Helix, the Ashmouth Dragon, and Sacred Fire it. Need 1 more mana to do that, though. And they need another colored source, so it's got to be 2 spells from hand and Prismari Command. Get a treasure token off of that. So they have 1 card in hand in the flashback spell engrave. They really like whatever's in their hand, because they chose not to draw discard there. So we have 2 red sources, 2 blue sources, 3 black sources, so get a blue or a black off this Thriving Isle. Oh, it already is a blue, so we get a black. And now we have 3 of everything. Well, we're definitely holding up Whirlwind Denial for whatever's in their hand, because apparently it's good. We are 1 mana away from Velmachus Lorehold. Hopefully it is good and expensive. Oh, it must be Sublime Epiphany, probably. Draw a card. I guess if it's a really good instant speed card, they get it here. I am no longer slamming down Velmachus Lorehold because they will just Sublime Epiphany me. So we will drop a Terragrid's Lantern and hold up Whirlwind Nile. Actually, they have the 4 mana to pay for it, though. If it's Sublime Epiphany. It is not Sublime Epiphany. It's Hullbreaker Horror, which can't be countered. Oh, wait, no, they got rid of that. Nice. They got rid of can't be countered on Hullbreaker Horror? Thank you, Alchemy. Very cool. That's so nice. Alchemy coming in with the big assist. They just sack a treasure to this lantern. Or just take 3. I mean, they're at 23. I thought I was screwed when I saw Hullbreaker Horror. I'm like, well, that can't be countered. In Alchemy, it sure can. Maybe I'm misremembering Hullbreaker Horror. Now I have to look it up. Alchemy is like gaslighting me. Hullbreaker. What did they just do? Oh, Magma Opus. That's big. That's a good top deck. They're drawing 2 cards per turn, though, and keeping the best one. Thanks to their Celestius. So it makes sense they're going to hit some gas. So obviously Velmachus. And we'll see what we hit. Do we get to scry off of this? We'll find out. Hopefully, yes. Yeah, we do. I'd rather scry 1. Land. Get that out of here. We're looking for big Velmachus plays. Ooh, Kolagon's Command's a big one. Blow up the Celestius. Discard a card from their hand. Yep. So they discard that card. They lose the Celestius. Alright, I was correct. The Hullbreaker Horror, the printed card, cannot be countered. I'm going to do this before they draw, so if they draw land, they can't just discard the land. So they sack the Guardian Idol, which I guess is pretty much the equivalent of discarding a land. Alright, use your Sacred Fire, I guess. No, I mean, we go to 10. Yeah, no, that's not worth it. Don't use your Sacred Fire. Got a Braid now. Ton of mana to multiple lanterns. What do we got? Velomachus. Cut to ribbons. Cool. Cut the 4/4. Now I need to hold 2 mana up, but I can do some other lantern plays. And they're going to scoop them up. They are over it. No more Tergrid's Lantern. I'm leaving. 2-1 now for the Nicol Bolas deck. Alright, here we go now. Round 4. Super keepable hand. I mean, I guess it's not actually that insane of a hand. But it's alright. Got our Triskaidekaphile. We've got some interaction. We've got a big explosion to try to end things eventually. Playing against green and white. Feyburrow Elder is the play. We are going to shoot that. I would rather do it with our sorcery than our instant, though. Even though our sorcery can kill slightly bigger cards. Our instant can be held up on many more occasions. And it can blow up artifacts if that becomes relevant. 4 mana from the green-white deck. Solemn Simulacrum is the play. I'd love to be able to counter that, but I can't, which means they're going to get great value off of it. And we're probably not using a removal spell on that. Because keeping the pressure on with 1 damage a turn is not doing much. Now that I have Electrolyze, I could do that. But here's where having 1,000 instants is wonderful. We have all of these different options, and if we don't need to do any of them, we can still just draw a card off Triskaidekaphile. Champion of Veronis is a creature spell that Slumgar's command will not counter, but it can do -3/-3 to that, and return Solemn to their hand? That seems bad. Yeah, Slumgar's command's not going to do what we want it to do, so we probably abrade Champion of Veronis then, because we're only going to get 1 piece of value off of Slumgar's command. Alright, Atris Oracle of Half-Truths. Can't cast that and still hold up my instance, so pass it is. I hope our opponents are playing at least some non-creatures. The problem is they're probably playing mostly creatures in their deck, so Slumgar's command seems probably pretty weak in the matchup, especially when the creatures have good enter the battlefield effects. But it'll be good later. Sometime they'll have their big, like, 7-mana creature that doesn't have an ETB, and we can just bounce that. Electrolyze on Mikaeus seems powerful, so that is what we'll do this turn. Draw a card. Junji, the Midnight Sky. And Tergrid. They have a ton of mana here. If they're going to play something big and explosive, it's probably a giant creature, which Slumgar's command will not counter, but it will bounce to their hand. So I'm actually kind of cool tapping out for Junji here. Because I think their most likely play is just a massive creature, and we don't have an instant to cover that. Anyway. Banishing Light, well, they weren't going to play that if we didn't play Junji, so it's whatever. It's not like they were going to Banishing Light or Triskaidekaphile. Forsaken Crossroads. I don't know if this will let us untap it or not, but we'll do red or blue here. No, we can only scry here. We get another blue source. No, I'm 4, 5, 6 mana here. Sure, explosion gets bigger, but nah. I think once again, I'm only expecting non-creature spells when we have a threat that matters, which we don't right now, so let's just cast Atris. Get 2 piles from our opponent. We pick one of them to put into our hand. We get the mini game here, see who wins the value war. Nicol Bolas or 2 lands. Nicol Bolas is really powerful. I already put aside some lands, so I will take the Nicol Bolas. Yep, Nicol Bolas or 2 lands it was. It's actually arguable. I might have been in a better position just taking the 2 lands. No, why does every creature in their deck have an enter the battlefield effect? Slumgar's command looking so bad in this matchup. It kind of feels like every creature in the cube has an enter the battlefield effect, honestly. Play the Bolas, then Huntmaster just like slamming into my soul. Don't have a way to kill it though. I actually do need another blue source to cast Explosion, which is interesting. Yeah, let's just drop a Bolas. Got rid of a Howlpack Piper. Probably time to start chump blocking. Oh, well, that would explain why every creature in the deck has an enter the battlefield effect. They're just gonna lap us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana if we play this untapped, which means we can flip Bolas. Deal 10 to Huntmaster. But then we have a 4 loyalty Bolas that's gonna get killed by all these 2/2s. Probably still worth it. Any good creatures in graves? Not ours. Not theirs. Ribbons is getting pretty painful, so maybe we're going for 2 Nicol Bolas attacks, trying to just win in the sky. 5, 6, 7 mana. Play Thief of Sanity and Lantern. Lantern's not very good here, though. They just start sacking 1/2s and 2/2s. Maybe we try to win in the sky. Ribbons will be 5 damage. With Thief of Sanity, we're hitting for 6 in the sky. We could actually expansion a Ribbons to double Ribbons. If we have 7 mana next turn, we go 1, 2... Ribbons for 3, double it, that'll be 6. If we can get Ribbons for 4, double it, then that kind of might get there. This is going to be risky, but I'm going to try to sneak out like a double Ribbons or something for the victory. Let's kill a 1/2 Skittering Surveyor. If they choose to lose the life, that is incredibly good for us. That is the #1 thing we would want. Alright, we kill a Skittering Surveyor. Please don't kill our flyers. That is our plan. Oh dear. Oh no. Take 6, I guess. Down to 12. And it'll be time for the turn that is the moment of truth. If they don't cast anything during their turn, I don't think they actually get to... yeah, they do get to flip Huntmaster. Because it'll blink, but then still no spells were cast. But I guess it depends how the triggers go on the stack. They could flip it and then blink it, or they could make it so it blinks and then the ability resolves. I think either way, they don't actually get to flip Huntmaster if they target it with teleportation circle. I'm not actually certain. Oh, nope, never mind. The ability doesn't go on the stack at the beginning of the end step, it just happens during our turn. Okay, so now Pack Leader gets to double fight. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They can't. They have 7 mana, not 8. If they had 8, they could fight both their wolves into Nicol Bolas, but they can fight off Thief of Sanity still, which is bad. Let's see what they do when we Lantern. Get rid of the Solemn. Makes sense. Do we do like expansion Kolagon's command maybe here? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ribbons for 3, double it, do 6. We can do 6 off ribbons, which isn't enough even if they kill Thief of Sanity. I have no idea at this point. Things are going rough. Oh. Send it in. We take it all, go to 8. I don't think I played land for turn. We'll look at and cast it. This can't play lands, though. Thief of Sanity can't play lands. It can only cast spells. That sucks. If we could play a land off of it, that would have been lethal there, because we could double ribbons. Any other way to find lethal? We can double Kolagon's command. That's only 4 damage, though. Could double Salumgar's command to bounce their stuff and get rid of multiple things to survive. We're probably on double Salumgar's command as the play. To just find a way to survive next turn. Put Pack Leader back to their hand and get rid of 3 wolves. I don't know. It's a close one. It's a scary game. Blue, black, 1, 2, 3. We double red to expansion. Return. Oh, we could return Banishing Light, actually, rather than bouncing a wolf on the second copy. So, return Pack Leader. -3, -3. To a wolf. Pay 3? What do you mean pay 3? Oh. Why are you doing that? Oh, because I'm full control? I'm full control for expansion. Oh, it only copies mana value 4 or less? Oh my god. Reading the card explains the card. Oh, and they had Restoration Angel? Oh my god. Oh, it was 1 mana too many. Well, we still don't die now. We get our next turn. Uh-oh. That's not how it works. Greetings, humans. You have entered the punt zone. I mean, if we hit a land and we just hit them for 2 with Thief of Sanity, we still ribbons for lethal. Like, literally just top deck a basic and we just ribbons for 6. That is now our win condition. No! It's our enters the battlefield tapped land? Oh no. Oh shit. Is there anything we can do here? I don't think there's anything we can do. I could double Kologon's command for 4? That'll require 5 of my mana, and then I don't have enough to play Ribbons. So I could double Kologon's command to get rid of the Restoration Angel, and then I hit for 6, but then I can't Ribbons. I can flip Bolas, but then I'm not attacking with Bolas, and I also don't have any mana for anything else. I could just cast Explosion, blue, blue, red, red for 3, which is also not lethal. Alright, well, we kill a wolf. And then they block Bolas and survive. We put them to 1 because we hit a tap land here. Yeah, because I'm fairly certain that a Ribbons on the stack with 3 mana into it counts as a mana value 5 spell that can't be copied with expansion. I mean, we might as well, because we have no other out here. We might as well try to do it. But I'm fairly certain that this is not going to allow us to copy the Ribbons. Because it's going to be mana value 5 on the stack. Yeah, sure isn't. God dang it, expansion. Why do you have to be that way? That was such a close game. We win off an untapped land, and it was the next... Oh! Goodbye, opponent. Goodbye, opponent. 2-2 as we end in round 5. Man, expansion... Expansion letting me copy anything that costs 4 or less when we cast 2 5 mana cards in a row. That's so rough. Oh, let's recalibrate. Get ready for the next game. A little mana heavy, but I'll keep it here. Triskaidekaphile can get us out of that. Get us some bonus cards. Maybe I should have tried to go for the Triskaidekaphile when that last game. Just stop playing stuff, and then try to get the explosion into Triskaidekaphile win. Maybe that was our line. I don't know. 2 black sources, only 1 red source. I'm gonna go for the second red source on this. Black-green, turn 2 Incubation Druid. I've got a ton of excellent cheap removal for that, but none of it is in hand. And that is the way the cookie crumbles at times. Abrade, Electrolyze, Kologon's command, Prismari command. We've got some draws that would be great. But they've already gotten value off the mana ramp. Alright, none of those. We just get to hold up Whirlwind Denial. Pass turn. Woe Strider's pretty nasty here, because even if we kill it, it can escape later. And it attacks into Triskaidekaphile well. Ninjutsu, the Woe Strider. And I could counter it, but I guess they get a Virus Beetle hand if this resolves. If I counter it, I guess it just doesn't even go on the board. It doesn't because it's still in their hand right now. It's not on the stack. So if I counter it, it's like they still have the creature in hand. I didn't actually kill anything by doing that. But yeah, them getting a virus beetle is really annoying. But I have about 1,000 lands, so it's all good. Smoldering Eggs, interesting. I don't think I can afford to play it right now, though. I probably have to go for Outburst or Whirlwind Denial. Yeah, the Saboteur is annoying. I probably have to tap out and just get rid of that. Atris or some Prisoners. They don't have any artifacts to blow up. I guess there's a Virus Beetle, but I'm going to take Atris. Teleportation Circle. Oh my god. Teleportation Circle Virus Beetle now. Want more mana for this explosion? I'll also just discard the explosion and then whatever. Mana doesn't matter. I probably want to go Smoldering Egg, hold up Whirlwind Denial next turn. I guess I maybe want to do that. Maybe I want to play Atris. I guess if I want to hold up Interaction, then I discard Atris. Teleportation Circle has to be one of the strongest cards in this cube, because again, it really feels like every creature has an enter the battlefield effect. Like 75% of the creatures in this cube. Adapt the Druid, sure. Oh, because I guess they can cast whatever they want. Because it's going to tap for 3 mana, so they cast whatever they're going to cast anyway. No. Denied. They discard Price of Fame now. You know what? I can't hold on to this explosion much longer anyway. Bone Shard's my egg. Oh. Pff. I was gonna say maybe discard the explosion and then we Price of Fame. To flip the egg to the Ashmouth Dragon, but they just blew up my egg, so that's not happening. Do you have enough cards engraved for Woe Strider? No. So we just have to deal with these two things? I guess I would rather just cast an explosion to do 1 damage to Virus Beetle and draw a card than cast Price of Fame, so discard Price of Fame. And then I'll just do 1 damage to a Virus Beetle and draw a card? Or I guess now I have a Braid. Now I can abrade the Virus Beetle in response to their Teleportation Circle, and then they have nothing else to do with the Teleportation Circle. Sure. I guess we hit for 1 because we're not blocking a 3/5 Incubation Druid. Must be holding for a very expensive instant if they're not setting in the Incubation Druid here. Sap Vitality. Okay, that doesn't actually stop the abrade, that's fine. Just Gedekophile's just gone. We have an explosion for 2. I think Woe Strider can come out now. Yeah, it can. Llanowar Visionary. Well, now there's a target for our explosion, which we'll probably have to cast to just get back into the game and actually have some cards to play after all that. After all that's Virus Beetle shenanigans. So now they're going to try to bounce Llanowar Visionary to draw another card, and then we'll blow it up and draw 2. So we'll make it so the best they can do with Teleportation Circle is to just get a land every turn. Okay, ooh, Magma Opus. Oh, Nicol Bolas with 1 card in their hand. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 mana is actually not enough for Magma Opus, so predetermined decision tree here. This thing costs 8. Oh, we made them discard a Hornet Queen. Hornet Queen teleportation circle would have been so nasty. Red and 7 off the top is also so nasty. Yep, that makes tree folk that are way too big to die to a Magma Opus and way too big for Nicol Bolas to attack into. Well, poop. So we need an untapped land for Magma Opus so we can tap down this reach creature and then we can snipe Ren and 7 out of the sky. We also get a 4/4 as a chump blocker. Alright, fingers crossed, untapped land. There we go. We have the Magma Opus. Oh, I can also just shoot Ren and 7 for 2. So we shoot Ren and 7 for 2, we shoot Skittering Surveyor for 2. Wait till their upkeep. They go untap and then they go upkeep. So we do it in their upkeep before they draw. So we can tap down those creatures and not have to worry about them attacking into us, I think. We're definitely not flipping Bolas because it just dies the moment we flip it. Okay, so upkeep here. Now we do this. 4 damage. 2 damage to Ren 7. 2 damage to Skittering Surveyor. 2 permanents to tap. The 7/7 and the 5/4. And we get a 4/4 and draw 2 cards. Now they can Woe Strider and sack the Skittering Surveyor if they want. To scry 1 here real quick. But everything else is still going to happen. Scry to the top, not what you like to see. Something good is coming up. We've got some lands off our Magma Opus.
We are wilting.
The Gitrog Monster is what they had on the top there, so they can start sacrificing their lands to draw cards. Very cool card. I'm actually not that unhappy with that. Not that it's not a bad thing for me, that is a bad thing for me, but I just love the Gitrog Monster. It's just a cool card. Well, that's another land for us. We can flip Nicol Bolas, blow up the Gitrog Monster, and it has 3 loyalty, which means we chump there and it dies. If we flip Bolas, it dies. That might be where we're at. We have to just flip Bolas and draw 2, maybe? I don't even know what our best use of Bolas is. Just blow up the 8/8 or draw 2 or blow up the Gitrog Monster. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll have 9 mana. So we'll have 2 extra mana after we flip. If I draw 2, Bolas is at 8. We block the 8/8 and Bolas dies.
When I can be a god.
Bolas is going to die no matter what we do. The question is 2 random cards better than stopping their Gitrog Monster? Or their 8/8? I don't think it is. Oh, we could get a creature in a graveyard. Forget about that. Is that worth it? Get an Atris here. Get a Hornet Queen. That is worth it. Oh my god, get a Hornet Queen. Oh, we get a Planeswalker too. We could put Ren and 7 out, but I think Hornet Queen's better. It's just more defensive. Yeah, look at that. Okay. Alright. Player tapped land here. Oh, I'm so glad I saw that last second here. That means we've got a real shot still. 5 death-touching blockers is massive. Yeah, that has to be better than just picking up their Ren and 7. Getting 5 Death Touch blockers. Opponent is digging through their deck with the Woe Strider here. Start drawing extra cards off Gitrog. Garruk Unleashed can give their Gitrog monster trample, and they have a Death Touch Trampler. They can also just make a 9/9 Trampler. Either of those things is almost definitely lethal on Nicol Bolas. They have 10 power, 4, 5, 6. We have 8 toughness. No matter what, Bolas goes to 1 loyalty, and that's if we block with literally everything. So I think we just block with a single one and then let Bolas die. Because even if I block with everything, that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 toughness? Wait, it is 10 toughness? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I could save Bolas. I need to block with at least 7. I need to block with 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. And then Bolas is at 1, and we get to draw 2 cards. Is drawing 2 cards better than all these Death Touchers? They're down to only 2 other creatures to attack with really here, and we have 2 other Death Touchers. So probably in the interest of keeping our draw 2 on board, we block with just 8 toughness. 6, 7, 8. Oh, I should have blocked with those 2 and then sent Hornet Queen at Garruk. And then just had only a Hornet Queen left. A 5/2 Hornet Queen on the board. We should have tried to kill Garruk, probably. But I am hopeful for our draw 2 here, because we're going to be drawing 3 cards this turn. We get 1 off the top, and then 2 more. Gitrog monster draws another card since they surveil the land into the grave. Blink the Woe Strider, get another goat here. Kite Sail Freebooter, they get to check out our lands. And blink the Woe Strider. Okay, Salumgar's Command is the first draw, which is a good one. Where are the other 2? An Electrolyze and a land. All of these... Well, Slumgar's Command and Electrolyze are definitely good draws. Forsaken Crossroads gets to scry 1, I believe. I would rather scry 1 than untap it. Junji the Midnight Sky? Yeah, that's a good draw. So Slumgar's Command Electrolyze. It's probably enough to save Nicol Bolas, because we can Slumgar's Command to bounce whatever they try to give trample to. And then Electrolyze elsewhere, whatever else is sending his way. Actually, Slumgar's Command can just destroy a Planeswalker. Stop in the upkeep and just destroy the Planeswalker before they give any trample. I totally forgot about that. Okay. So destroy the Planeswalker and -3/-3 on the Freebooter, I guess? Or do we return a permanent to hand? There's nothing good to return to their hand. So, yeah, just kill the Freebooter. And the Garruk. We don't kill Woe Strider because they can just play it again from grave. And I should have just probably done that during my turn, but stopped in the upkeep so that they can't use the can't use Garruk's ability with priority when they get to their main phase, where they just use it before we can cast anything. Alright, Gitrog drawing some cards, but there's no trample on their board anymore, so Nicol Bolas might get to stick around. We've got a little Electrolyze backup plan that can only blow up the Woe Strider, but if they attack Nicol Bolas with literally everything, then we Death Touch the Druid, the Gitrog monster, and then Electrolyze the Woe Strider. Voracious Hydra to trade with its fight ability into one of our Death Touchers. I could respond to this with Electrolyze, but the problem is then they can still attack Bolas with all three and kill it anyway. So either way, Bolas is at great risk here and is probably dead. So at least if I do it this way, they might just attack with only two things at Bolas and expect me not to have interaction. Yes, because they want to protect the Gitrog monster, which makes sense. It is drawing them a lot of cards. So now we can block just Incubation Druid and Electrolyze Woe Strider. Draw onto the Junji the Midnight Sky that we left on top. And they get to recast the Woe Strider. But if they want to blink it for their teleportation circle, it won't have its +1/+1 counters anymore. Bolas doesn't have a -3, does he? He does, but it would just kill one of their cards and Bolas would be gone forever, so it's probably better to draw 2 cards. It would also put Bolas to 5, which is really hard to kill. We've drawn into cut here. Yeah, let's draw 2. See what we hit. Supreme Will is not great right now. We just play that as a draw spell. So Junji and Cut is what we have. They have enough cards to play Woe Strider again, but we can make it so that can't attack next turn, which is still solid. And we have Junji to chump block the Gitrog monster if they try to attack Bolas with that. And Ribbons is probably our win condition now. It's already at lose 9 life. There's Woe Strider again. They can pay for Supreme Will. So we'll just let it happen. There's Midnight Reaper. They can't pay for it on this one. Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We kill them if we let them kill Bolas. We play a land and then Ribbons for 10.
I have other schemes to attend to.
We just have lethal here, so sorry Bolas. I know you're the pick one, pack one. You are the theme of the deck, but when you have lethal, you have lethal. Man, that cut to Ribbons really put in work that game. It was so close to putting in work in that other game as well, but Expansion was being rude about it. Didn't want to copy it. But that'll be 3-2 now, I think, so no matter what, 50-50 win rate this time around as we head into round 6. Alright, God, this is a risky hand. We have lots of great 3-mana stuff. We just need to hit one more land. And our opponent's on the play, which means we get to play this untapped if we want. But I'd probably rather just scry and try to hit a land. This is a little risky. I'm going to scry and try to hit a land here. Oh, well, there's a land already. So we'll scry with this, because Forsaken Crossroads we can play untapped since we were second. And there's another land. Perfect. Now we just have straight gas. So we can cast all this interaction. Our opponent is probably 5 color. We see blue, black, green, and white off of their first 2 lands. I'm just probably going to scry one here. We have 2 black sources, 1 red source, 1 blue source, so blue or red here. Go red, we have more red cards than blue cards in hand. Thriving Isle, that'd be our 5th land. That's good for Expansion Explosion, not much else. Probably still want it's a tapped land though, so that'd be our turn 4 land. I don't know, I'm gonna actually get rid of that one. Here, another green-white land. No turn 3 play. Play my island. I could play Triskaidekaphile, but I've got a bunch of instants to hold up here, so I'll wait till turn 5 to do that. Elite Guard Mage. Yeah, we will counter the draw card here. Counter the 2 for 1. Now I still get to hold up a Braid if I play Triskaidekaphile, and I don't have a counter spell to hold up anyway. So now I'm kind of cool with it. Because any of these that would remove something I can also just do during our turn. Baron, Tolarian Archmage. Returns our Triskaidekaphile, makes us replay it. It's also just a 2/2, so I guess we could kill that with a Braid. I'd probably rather kill it with Electrolyze and draw a card when I do that. And I'm going to do that right now. Let's see if we can draw a land. Alright, I probably should have kept that land because we are failing to hit any more. 5 mana now from our opponent. Cloud Blazer, that's disgusting. Draw 2 cards off that one, so that one's a 3 for 1. 5 mana here if I play this untapped, which means I can Kolaghan's Command. Still after playing a Triskaidekaphile, which is pretty good. Probably the play. Kolaghan's Command's a blow up Cloud Blazer and make them discard a card. And I'll wait to do that in case they play something to try to flicker the Cloud Blazer. It's gonna look suspicious though, because I paid the 2 life for Blood Crypt, so they know I'm holding something up at instant speed, and the only colors I have up are black and red, so they have to expect some removal here. They probably don't get greedy with any kind of flicker effects. Alright, Lotus Cobra. I guess if they're instant speed flicker effects, it's really bad for me, because they could counter our thing. Okay, so they play Tolsimir. Can't do anything about that. Could have Braid it. I guess. When it enters the battlefield, you make a 3/3, and this card says that when a wolf enters, they get to fight. So if I abrade it right now, the wolf doesn't get to fight. Sure. We'll take the 2 in the sky this turn, so they don't get to fight. And then I still have my 1/3 to keep Lotus Cobra from attacking me. Ooh, Soul Servitude, we get a Lotus Cobra or a Cloud Blazer. Search for Azcanta, Kolaghan's Command seems like the best line again. I'm pretty scared of instant speed flicker effects like Restoration Angel. I'm tempted to just Kolaghan's Command Cloud Blazer right now. I am gonna do that right now. That might be wrong, but last turn I was just scared that whole time until they cast Tolsimir. I was like, just have a flicker effect. They're just gonna have a flicker effect and my removal is gonna be so bad. So rather than live in fear, I will destroy the Cloud Blazer right now. Blade Splicer. They are definitely the kind of deck that's gonna have flicker effects. There it is, Soul Herder. We need to blow that up. Now I wish I held on, because I could have just blown up Soul Herder and the Golem with Kolaghan's Command. That would have been pretty nasty. We might actually lose because I didn't hold on to Kolaghan's Command, because I was expecting like Restoration Angel style instant speed flicker instead of the Soul Herder end step flicker that they have. We could have 6 mana here. What do we do if we have 6 mana? Not enough to survive. We cast 1 spell. So we cast 1 spell whether or not we hit that land, so I'm going to try to draw the next card and hope it's something a little better for us here. It's not, it's just another land. We have to kill this Soul Herder. So we can Rowl's Outburst it, or we can Vraska's Contempt it. If I Rowl's Outburst, I don't get any life, but I draw a card. And then I'm facing a bunch of 3/3s. I can block one of them and take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I can live another turn, but barely. I guess I take Bolas here, but I think playing around instant speed flicker cost us the game here. I don't know if that makes it objectively the wrong play, because we didn't know what was in their hand, and it would have objectively been the better play if they had Restoration Angel in hand. But it did make it so we just kind of straight die because they had Soul Herder. Now they have Thassa, which is literally just Soul Herder copy number 2, except this is one that's indestructible and an enchantment, so we can't get rid of it. Man, I wish I were in the alternate universe where I dealt 2 to Soul Herder and blew up one of these Golem tokens, but I don't live in that universe, so don't know what would have happened if that were the line. But we definitely lose this way. Another land. Search for his Conch is already going to flip. So we will already have another land. So if Silumgar's Command at 7 life, 7 mana, we can Vraska's Contempt and Soul Servitude, I guess? That doesn't seem like it's enough to survive. It's definitely not. It's definitely not. Yeah, that's game. Well, Slumgar's Command kills 2 things. But if we cast Slumgar's Command, we don't have the mana for anything else, and we've learned the hard way that expansion can't copy Slumgar's Command, so yeah, we're very dead. 3-3 this draft. Disappointing run in the end. Because I think this deck was really good. I think I just took the wrong lines some places, made some bad misplays. I think this, against the decks that we played today, I think this deck could have easily gone like 5-3 if I played perfectly. And with a little bit better draws and a little bit better matchups, I think this could have been a 7-win deck. That would have been a little hard to do, but I'm not that disappointed with this deck overall. I think it played pretty well. I just didn't play it very well. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. God, that season Pyromancer for our first loss, that was so bad. Never drafting this card again. But yeah, we did fun things. We did big Grixis control stuff. Blew up a lot of our opponent's cards. Played some really sick bombs like Bolas, Magma Opus, Expansion Explosion. We did a Sublime Epiphany somewhere in there. That was fun. Pretty solid draft overall. I'm not too unhappy with that one. And we'll be leaving with 2,000 gold and 3 cards. So it did not cost us that much to play this draft. Pretty fun time overall. But I am certainly excited to hop into the next one. But that is going to end today's draft and end today's video. As always, if you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to let the YouTube algorithm know to send some more of these videos to yourself and others. And once again, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.